Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we will take a look at some new Just No HOA content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, My Fight with a Poorly Ran HOA. This happened a few years ago when I used to own a condo. I initially bought a condo from my older brother who gave me a good deal since he got another job and had to move to another city halfway across the state. The HOA would not let him rent out the condo, so he sold it to me. After moving in and learning about how bad HOAs can be the hard way, I noticed that there is a problem with the foundation. There were some spots where there was a large noticeable gap between the wall and ceiling. All of the buildings had 4 condos each. I reported the issue to the HOA and they never initially replied back about it. They decided to ignore the issue instead. Over time I had noticed that the cracks were getting bigger and occasionally heard popping noises at night coming from the attic. I have tried reporting the issue again and the HOA simply ignored it again. I decided I would like to sell the place and get out of there. Because of the foundation issue, nobody would want to buy it at the time. I had also eventually met one of my neighbors who was also reporting similar foundation issues. Eventually, after enough complaints, the HOA board decided to finally start fixing the foundation issues. That is when I found out that at least 8 other buildings had similar foundation problems. They then issued my first special assessment at about $3,500. Everyone in the affected buildings had to pay the special assessment. They then started working on a couple buildings and fixed the foundation issues there. Then they stopped working on repairing any other buildings. It looks like the buildings that the board members lived in got fixed before they stopped. Something did not seem right at all. After sending messages to the HOA board to ask why they stopped and when they will continue work, they ignored everything again. It looks like the HOA board decided to play games with fixing the buildings and tried to ignore the issue as much as possible while collecting special assessment payments. Also during this time they kept also raising the monthly HOA fee as well. Around this time I met some of my neighbors who also had foundation issues as well. One of them was a retired reporter who specialized in finding corruption in large corporations and government offices. She started to help us out with the legal issues and to fight the HOA in court if it got to that point. Eventually the HOA decided that they will issue another special assessment for around $3,000 to help cover the costs of the foundation repair. During this time the HOA ignored all questions about when the foundations will be fixed while collecting more money from special assessments. My neighbor got the rest of the neighbors in that building together for us to help fight the HOA. She wrote up letters demanding answers about when things will be fixed and we would all sign them to show the HOA that we are not playing games anymore. This went on for a while. Eventually the property manager tried to actually claim that my building had no foundation issues. I decided to call a couple foundation repair companies and got some quotes for foundation repair. Apparently the foundation sunk about 3, according to them. I then sent a copy of those estimates to the property manager. One of them was for over $10,000 just to fix my corner of the building. I was also threatening to have the foundation company fix it myself using the funds from the sale of the condo. The property manager was then forced to admit that there was a foundation problem in my building. Also during this time my neighbor did talk to a HOA lawyer that specialized in going after abusive HOAs. She also called various local city offices as well. The city government actually stepped in and also threatened to sue the HOA. Around this time the fire department came and inspected the building. What they found was very disturbing. The support beams for the roof were breaking. I was also sent pictures of the support beams. They were bending and starting to break. Code enforcement came by and also issued the HOA a fine. The HOA kept trying to play games and still refused to fix the building this whole time. That didn't work when the city manager's office threatened to sue the HOA on our behalf if they didn't fix the problem very quickly. The HOA finally got a foundation repair company to come check the foundation and fix it. They held a meeting for us with the foundation company to go over the repair process. That is when I found out that one of the units had the foundation sink as much as 6 inches. Also, after that meeting, we ended up getting a third special assessment for $2,500. After finally fixing the foundation issue, the HOA was also forced to replace the roof as well. All of these repairs got very expensive for the HOA. Around the time they replaced the roof, I sold my condo and got out of there. During this entire time, I had to fight the HOA. I had found out that they previously fired the last 2 property management companies. Also, the HOA board had been ignoring foundation issues for at least 10 years. Eventually, the problems got so bad that it required the city to threaten to sue the HOA in order to get them to fix the problem. Also, during this time, the HOA actually tried to issue a $12,000 special assessment to everyone there. They tried to sneak it into a board meeting and hope that nobody found out about it until it was passed. What actually happened is that someone found out about that special assessment and put flyers on everyone's door telling them about it. The next meeting, a riot almost happened and the $12,000 special assessment failed very badly. Most of the homeowners attended that meeting and let the HOA board know in a not so nice way that they did not like that at all. Next one is titled, "Let me tell you a story." Sit down, relax, take a load off. Let me tell the story about how I'm so close to setting this community on fire. So I live in San Diego, California. HOAs are not hard to come by and the average monthly dues for my area are about $350 a month. 2 years ago, my boyfriend and I decided to buy a house together. We were both financially ready, but the market in San Diego is lightening fast and steep. Every time we found a place we liked, either HOA fees were too high, the house needed structural repair, or it was sold within 2 days. Most places we couldn't even book a viewing before it sold. It was insane. So one day, about 4 months into our search, a house comes up on the MLS and it's really cute. It was a duplex in a 12-unit community. Clapboard exterior, which is rare out here, 2-bed, 1.5 bath, 1,000 soft, 2-car garage. It was a nice, modest starter home. It was also about $25,000 over what we qualified for. But we said duck it and put an offer in at our max budget, $275,000. Against all odds, we end up getting the house because the owner didn't want to sell to a renovate. Even our realtor was shocked. We were ecstatic. It seemed almost too good to be true. The place seemed to be in really great condition, although it needed some updates, and we were just happy to have found a good home. So what's the catch, right? Why was it so cheap? Well, once we had closed and had been in the house for about a month, we realized the HOA info we got was actually 4 years old. Weird. So we ask about it. After getting the runaround for a few months, we get the most recent info. We were in absolute shock. The reserves, which were supposed to be around $125,000 at any point in time, were at $61,000. What the duck? It was also notable that the HOA had not had a meeting in 3 years. 3 years. So to make a long part of this story short, after much digging and my boyfriend basically forcing an HOA meeting, here's what we found. The reserves were abysmally low for 2 reasons. 1, the president didn't notice for 2 years that the water company was charging us incorrectly for water. As in, charging us for 1 unit instead of 12. The president's excuse was that she wasn't from the area, so she didn't know what it was supposed to cost. Obviously, the water company got their money. The second reason? 5 units had not paid their dues for 4 to 6 years. The president had no ducking clue how to handle that apparently, so instead of researching what to do or asking someone, she did nothing. For 6 years. This all happened around Tuesday time of the housing market crash, to give you an idea of how long they let it go. I was just flabbergasted at this idiot. Okay, so how do we fix this? Boyfriend is a finance major. He was a year from graduating at the time and thought he could turn the community around, so we got to work. At the initial HOA meeting, we find out that many, Many repairs need to be done on all the units. Why haven't they been done? Well, obviously they had no money, but on top of that, instead of allowing the owners to just fix these things on their own dime, the HOA owns the exterior of each building. They're denying requests to fix crap and then slapping them with notice letters when they do it out of pocket. Our neighbor unit had half their roofing blown off in a storm and the HOA refused to fix it. Owner had a friend do it at a discounted price, it looked great. Then the HOA refused to reimburse the member because they didn't go through the correct process of notifying the HOA of the problem. Like it was ducking hard to miss. So all these units are going to crap because the HOA won't fix them and the owners can't. So after the initial meeting, which got a bit heated due to the complete idiocy of the president etc. stepped down. We have to vote new members in. There's 3 positions and 12 units. So ballots go out. Not enough people vote, so people just get appointed into position by the company that collects the HOA dues. Boyfriend somehow ends up as treasurer and a new neighbor that had moved in a month after us is appointed president. This immediately leaves the old president butthurt about everything. I mean, laughably butthurt. To the point that they sent out an email to everyone complaining about a rug on our balcony. It had rained the night prior, so I had hung it over the balcony railing to dry. And how it could cause damage, and that they questioned the reason my boyfriend wanted to take over the HOA chair. All the while their board is literally rotting off of their house from termite damage. The paint is chipping visibly and they refuse to fix it. It was like some kind of joke. We begin having regular meetings. The other units are ducking idiots. We're trying to find a solution to the reserve problem. One guy insists on special assessments. As if we all have thousands and thousands laying around for that. He seems genuinely confused when we all tell him that's a terrible idea. Boyfriend suggests some options that will fix things with the least financial strain on everyone. No one will agree on everything. So president, my boyfriend and the other chair member meet separately and decide that the HOA fees will no longer cover water. It's a fair change since water is very expensive here and some units are using way more than others. We won't raise fees, we'll just have the city meter out each unit and each unit will pay its own. Old president says she tried that years ago and the city said they can't do that. Boyfriend makes one phone call and finds out it's completely possible. The city just needs a metering company to bill it to us. It's like $10 a month to have this done. Overall, not per unit, sigh. So we get it in motion. One unit goes apeshit about having to pay for their own water. A unit that is being rented, by the way. The owner didn't even live here, and refuses to pay dues from there out. That was 3 months ago. Now the unit is for sale. There are honestly so many other things wrong with this place. The people are complete a-holes. The place is falling apart and everything is getting fixed at a crawl because no one will agree on anything, mostly just out of spite. We've remodeled our house but we're moving within the year because I genuinely cannot deal with this stupid crap any longer. I could write pages and pages here but I'll leave it at this. I will never again own property with an HOA. Last one is titled, Playing Devil's Advocate. Hey guys, I would just like to share a story opposite of this entire sub's pretense. I bought into a HOA a year ago. The house was too amazing to pass up. Knowing it was a part of a HOA, I started to research and follow others' posts closely and look for any bull crap or how to fight against it, i.e. pick up a ham radio hobby lol. I love the post and cannot believe how corrupt some HOAs can be. I am super thankful though that mine is not. They are not all bad, maybe we're just lucky. There was no dues when I moved in due to a special tax needed to fully incorporate to the town. They have been an HOA for 50 years now. They had low balance sheets and didn't fine anyone for hardly anything. Usually if there's a problem, a quick convo solves everything. Fees were collected in the form of donations collected at parties thrown by brewers in the neighborhood at our little park. Pay money, drink good beer and fund the entire year's activities. Fantastic. Most donations are about $20. Like I said, no nonsense, and we're smart about how every dollar is spent. The majority of the money is upkeep on our little lake the neighborhood is built around. along with an attached park and swim area. Recently things have begun to change due to 2 residents who hate the HOA. This is where I start to see things from the other side and understand that it's not always the board that is the root of the problems. Guy 1 decided to raise chickens, awesome. Then got roosters too, not awesome. Who thinks it's a good idea without even asking neighbors their opinions? Those things are loud as hell. So of course after a number of complaints the board talks with Guy 1. Guy 1 claims the board is picking on him and gets rid of the roosters. Guy 2 decides to put a home-built swim platform on the lake. Not allowed in the rules, insurance purposes, and protection for the HOA members in case of a lawsuit. Didn't take the time to ask our very active and available board. Not to say he couldn't have a small boat or blow-up float. So board politely asks him to drag it to shore and write a formal request for permission to put it out. Which they probably would have granted. Instead Guy 2 basically says "duck you," and leaves it out there. Board asks again and Guy 2 gets a lawyer. This forces the HOA to hire a lawyer for the first time in about 15 years. Guy 2 gets sent a letter explaining the rules and his lawyer says you have no case and drops him. Raft gets pulled in and placed on HOA property. He gets another reminder that he needs to move it onto his own property and he has 2 weeks. So he basically says "duck you" and waits again. Yet another letter from the board's lawyer. Finally on his property. These two now believe that half the neighborhood is on their side and fully out to get them. Haven't met a single person on their side yet. But now they want to keep escalating things. Because of all of this our community donations have now gone away to be replaced with a small yearly fee. Which due to lawyer fees for continued bull crap is now on its way to doubling. Point is, sometimes it's not always the HOA board that's the problem, it's the few residents that want to stir up bull crap that forces the HOA's hand. Then to appear impartial, the board adds and enforce even more rules than before. So a board that used to solve everything with a friendly chat and no fines is slowly flipping to the opposite. Thanks for listening.